So for black pine, needle is pretty hard, so we use gloves. Because if you don't use it, you have a lot of red spots later in the afternoon. And this side, leave the three open, and you don't use this anyway, so when you clean the needles, you need this. And for the branches, it's nice to have a saw like this, so you could get into that tree and get, you know, closer to whatever you want to cut. Yeah, today we won't be using this. And of course, this you need for a little bigger branch. And mostly use this. So if you buy it in the store, it's about half inch shoulder. When I was in Kyoto, I had this specially made so the blade is longer, so you could get it inside. Army surplus. Okay, we did this earlier. Did the easier part of this one. So when you are pruning things like this, if you want it to grow from this area, what we do is pinch. And when you pinch like this, about 3 to 5 small buds will come out in the spring. And when you look at this, you have a lot of little ones. We keep that, take the middle out, and when this start growing, then you can spin it out more. And what we do is like older needles, we just the reason this thinner one's good because when you cut like this, it's going to be brown and it doesn't look good. So that's why this thinner one works best. And okay, and if you wanted to really make it bigger on this side, depending on your taste, you can make it bigger by leaving some of this and let it grow, and then start trimming later. And notice this back side is kind of thin. That means this is too thick. So when you start pruning, we'll make it a lot thinner at the top so the light and the air could flow through it. And if you want a softer looking pine, sometimes we will bring this down with a wire, copper wire, and leave it for 6 to 8 months. And if you want to hear later, we'll pull it down like this. And when you take the wire off, you'll go to where you want it. So a lot of these, you look better if it's down like this.
How long would you leave that wire on?
6 to 8 months. And if you leave it longer, you know, time will grow around the wire, so it's not so good. And see this branch has one little one here and a little bit bigger, and the biggest one here. You know, you don't want to outgrow the top, so you cut the big one off and let the little one grow. And once this little one start growing a little more, you could pinch it like that. Then you'll start branching out from there. 3 to 5 buds will form. And once those get a little bit bigger, you could thin it out, depending on what you want. So these branches we did this morning, it looks a lot thinner. Of course, this part wasn't cut yet. So when you finish pine pruning, you want to look like this area. So even this, it's too thick up here. So you break it off. And once you cut below the green area, where you cut, it's not going to grow back. So anytime, you know, if it's a longer one, you want to save it, cut with a little green left behind. So anybody want to test, try? No volunteer? You want to try? Try this area. It's easier.
Cut.
I would cut the biggest one.
Biggest one, this one. From here?
From the bottom.
From the bottom. About here?
Yeah, so leave a little bit of the green.
So about here.
You're right.
When cut
Just,
this way or straight?
Yeah, just
straight, I mean.
right. And so, like this one, you could just break it off. You don't have to cut it.
Okay.
Just twist it a little bit, it will come off. And then take some of the older needles out.
The one's kind of dying.
Yeah, that's a dead one. You just cut off its bottom.
How about these?
Well, see this one? It doesn't have any green.
Oh, okay.
So we just cut those off.
And all the dead ones. Cool. How about these?
Oh, these you could just break it off, the little ones. Leave these.
Okay.
And so when you're pruning, if you see a small branch toward the bottom, you let it grow. You can always cut it if you don't want it. But once you cut it, it's not going to grow back. And once those start growing and these areas are getting too much, then you could cut not this one, right?
Okay.
But you could cut it later and let the small ones grow into the area. Well, see, this one you want to grow later.
Okay.
So just pinch it, and the small, branches will form from there. And just take the needles off. And this one, just cut it like that and make it thinner. then more sun and air will go through.
In a cold climate, we do this in May.
Needle, yes.
And
Well, in Japan, what we did was about May, June, we'll cut the candles. You know, it usually goes about like that.
okay.
So we usually leave quarter to maybe 1/3, and we just pinch it off. And thinning like this, we did it in about October to December, January. And believe me, it got cold in Kyoto. We're freezing because body's not moving, or you're moving the fingers.
I have a question. Do you start from the bottom or
No, top to the bottom.
top to bottom? And when you so everything done, you just
Yeah, so we just, for the demonstration, we did this area this morning.
I see.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have any question? Anybody else volunteer? Okay.
So what are we looking at?
Well, like this area we haven't done. You
Okay.
see this area?
Yeah.
Even some of the needles should be taken out. The yellow ones usually like last year,
Yeah.
and the brown one is like 3 years, 2-3 years ago.
So we wanna. So with this here, there's these two.
Well, see this area is thin, so
You want it to grow, so
yeah. But see the little one here? Leave
Yeah.
that and cut this one. Cut, yeah, like. Then you start going from there.
okay.
This is done.
Here. So we remove the needles first.
Right.
Let's see what's going on. Okay, so here,
See, you want this little one to grow,
so yeah, I want to cut this one
probably below that,
below the,
then leave the green.
yeah.
Okay,
And-
that's the same thing.
And then just clean it up.
And this way to take the needle off, it's actually grab it and go down with it.
Oh.
It makes it easier.
Okay, so you grab and go down. Oh yeah, it's much easier.
Yeah. So basically, it just depends on, how you like it. And like I say, wiring this down and let this area grow, then it makes a lot better, canopy, everything.
Okay, thank you.
And you're leaving these where they grow?
Yeah, so these will grow. And maybe when you get to a bigger,
Yeah.
pinch it off. Or like this, just pinch it off.
Because you don't want it to grow any larger.
Right. Just clean out the dead branches.
So you're cleaning up here and encouraging it to grow a little, but cleaning it out here.
Right. And eventually, if it was mine at home, I would be doing like this. And this empty area, these little ones will start forming. But over here, it's all volunteers doing the work, so I can't tell them anything. And they're the one that's going to work on it. I'm not. I'll be home. Okay, basically, that's how it's done. Any questions? Venancio? No? You're going to be doing this pretty soon. Yeah, anything? No?
So you just continue.
Yeah, continue like this all the way through.
So here, like here, I do this one, right?
Yeah, that one, you could cut off a little bit.
Just,
And let this one grow a little bit
yeah.
before you cut it.
And then these I leave.
Yeah, and some of the bottom ones just take off.
And then so everything that has some brown, I want to
Yeah,
Yeah,
clean it out.
yeah. So that's more like sanitation.
Right.
Yeah.
So this hasn't been done in maybe about 2-3 years.
Yeah. Do you ever kind of like, okay, I don't like this, I just take this one out?
Well, if it's too thick, yes.
Yeah, kind of
But
like,
I would leave something like this in there. So if always, if you don't like it, you could always cut it later.
yeah.
So just
You really have to not like it.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Basically, that's it. And normally, it'll take me a day and a half to really complete this.
How do you make the shape of the pine tree?
Well, you have to start from when it's small. And 15-gallon container, you could find it. And that's where you start shaping it. And if it's, a lot of people call this bonsai. It's not bonsai. Bonsai is in a pot. And this is bonsai, we call it bonsai tree there. It's in Japanese niwaki. So, like in bonsai, there are so many ways, there are so many restrictions. You don't see this. Same level having 2-3 branches. But in niwaki, it's okay. If it's bonsai, then you leave one here, next one different level, another layer. So that's how it's classified. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. No questions?
Glenn, do you get a spot, especially on the top, where it's really thick? Would you remove sometimes one of these branches if you've got too many too close together?
Yeah. Always.
Or just go back, like remove the larger one and leave the smaller shoots here, but take it part way back to thin it out a little bit?
See, when this is growing like this, this is going to grow. So I would take this out and break these off. Then that's where it's going to start growing. Right.
So when you get done,
So you,
completely done pruning it, will you see the bones of the tree?
well, of course, yeah. See, like this area, you could see it's been done. You could see the trunk
And that's been done long ago when it was smaller.
this morning.
This morning we have another conflict.
So you say if I have a tree that's this or bigger, forget about shape, a different shape. You just have to work with what you have.
Yeah, once it's bigger like this, there's no way
Yeah.
of. So there's one way. It's like grafting. If there's like this branch was gone, it dies down or something, you could bring like 5-gallon pine tree and put the trunk where you want the branch to start and tie it up for a couple years. Then that'll be taken over by the main tree, and you cut the bottom of the container. This part, it becomes yeah, I've seen it done so many times. It works.
Yeah.
Are there other types of pine other than the black pine that you prune?
Well, I've done some red pine, which is softer. I don't need a glove. And it doesn't stick you. But I don't know if there is any red pine.
How about the ponderosa?
You don't make gnocchi out of those.
Okay.
When you have a sticky hand, how do you take it off?
Sometimes alcohol.
Alcohol. Okay. I heard before you if you put the hand cream before you work on it, it's easier to take it off.
I try it next time.